Well, I want to address something because, I know how YouTube is sometimes. I'm trying to actually put a little bit more educated type stuff out here that's a little more not into the giddy rumors or the superfluous fluff. I realize superfluous fluff seems to sell the most, but unfortunate be that it is human nature. But I just want to point out something here, because what I'm going to state here is silver is actually going to be the savior for the poorer middle class, but paper is going to be the savior for the elite. And you probably could get into some of this paper, but it may be too complex to bother with, or it just may be something you might not want to bother with. But I'll talk a little bit about this, because I am getting like a little bit disgusted with some of this garbage about when you have all paper is going to go to oblivion, everything's going to crash. And, you have a pastor out there selling DVDs, or you have a truther with a PayPal button saying, oh, yeah, I know everything. But, there's people with literally billions of dollars that aren't listening to these people. And, these people are only selling to the idiots. The idiots. I'm like, now, I don't profess to know that I know everything out there, but I do know quite a bit. And I've been in the accounting field, but not just accounting. I was working with people. I'm working with people and have been educated in a lot of different areas besides accounting, even with so many life insurance and insurance contracts, annuities. But I forget a lot of that stuff because I think it's a lot of garbage, because I am pretty much a down-to-earth type person. I just don't like these flakes in the professional world. I don't like them. I think they're a bunch of weasels. Okay? Now, I'm going to put the truth out there, and I'm going to state this right from the beginning. I know I got some kind of damn troll around here that's following me around, because I don't really give a damn if you put a thumbs down on my video, but I've been noticing a little pattern. It's like this thumbs down, one or two of them seem to come right away, and then I'll get a whole bunch of thumbs up, and I'm thinking, it's like becoming a pattern. Like there's some idiot out there, or one or two, that are just following me around. It's got to go, hey, but it don't mean nothing. Because you got your web bots to listen to, and you got your other idiots out there like David Icke to listen to with the shapeshifters. Go find them, because don't listen to me, because I ain't putting out that kind of garbage, because that is total garbage. Now, I don't trust the major media. Yes, I don't trust the major media, but I actually, as an accountant, a real accountant, your job is to actually protect your client's money for real. And I never worked as one of those working for a big corporation or some, Fidelity or some garbage like that or whatever, trying to, like, somebody above me is telling me what I have to sell to somebody. I never played that game. I always worked for some very aggressive entrepreneur or in an independent firm. I've never dealt with, having to be told by corporate what the deal is. Because I understand that, my function was protect the client's money. Now, be that as it said, I don't know everything that's going to go on in the future. Nobody does, and anybody that says that is full of it. But I'm going to state this. I know there's been a lot of talk about, I'm going to get into a couple things, even like I just discussed about how the elite will protect a lot of their money through paper, despite what DVD sellers say and PayPal people that are truthers have to say, But let me first backtrack to some of these things, because I talked about the oil going up because of ISIS or whatever it is, that group that's actually probably left over from Saddam Hussein, that is doing a lot of the fighting. If they take over southern Iraq, oil prices can jump $50 a barrel inside of no time, and that'll put a major dampener on the middle class. Now, that's not a prediction by some guy that knew the inside guy. And I'm really getting sick of that kind of garbage. But people still profess that they think this guy knows something. The guy knew something back when Ken Fromm was alive. Ken Fromm told him. Ken Fromm died. Ever since that time, the information's been garbage. But it's like what I'm looking at with this oil deal. I don't see nothing coming up right away, because the markets aren't reacting. The Dow is not reacting just yet. It seems like because in other words, they're sending troops there. They're talking about airstrikes. Even though Obama presents a lot of weakness, it seems like they're going to stop this before it becomes a major problem. But then again, I also think that since they're pretty much all set up with domestic production anyway, why not allow the price of oil to go way the hell up so they can, maximize their profits? Now, that's not going to mean that oil is going to stay up forever, because you're already seeing electric cars come out and solar panels are getting more and more efficient. And it's like it's not going to stay up that way for years, but when oil goes up, gold goes up, and so does silver. That's just a simplistic thing. If oil went up $50 because southern Iraq got taken over, it could happen, maybe not right away. But I think it's in the cards. I think it's in the cards. And that can send oil way the hell up, including silver and gold. I think there's going to be a series of waves. Now, have you seen platinum and palladium start going back up again? That's because the crisis is back on the Ukraine. Putin's sending in troops and stuff. So, I mean, a lot of that platinum and palladium went down a lot because they had the strike negotiations in South Africa resolved. But, it's been offset by new tensions in Ukraine because Russia is a big producer of platinum and palladium. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to cut off the supply, but it always means, like in the back of their head, that could affect the price somehow. But then again, in South Africa, they've resolved this strike several times over the last several years. And you know what? It just came into something else, into a new strike. Because the conditions must be that horrible in the mines. And, it can be back on again. So actually, I think platinum and palladium are very good bets, even though they've risen quite a bit recently. I think they are very good bets. Now, I want to talk a little bit about Janet Yellen before I get into some of the stuff where the elite might put some of their money on paper. But it's not just the elite. There's other people that do it. But it's not. It's commonly known, but it's not commonly known. It's probably not commonly known on YouTube. I'm sure of that, because anybody listening to WebBots and Pastor LW and David Icke and all these other guys out there, here's my PayPal because I'm a truther and I'm going to tell you where to put your money. It's not commonly well known to those kind of people. But Janet Yellen actually, she's been revealing that she's pretty much a big time dove, and at being what you mean by a dove in the Federal Reserve, she's going to actually just keep stimulating the economy. So, I think we're going to come up to this problem with inflation, big time. It is going to hit us, because when that money actually starts circulating in the economy, that's going to be what the problem is. See, a lot of the big banks, corporations, and everything are flush with cash, but where are they holding their cash? Are they getting like a fraction of 1% like everybody else? No. They're getting like 5-6%. And what it is actually a lot of it's in structured life insurance contracts. A lot of that stuff, even with the elite, that's what they're doing. It's actually U.S. Tax Code 77002, structured life insurance contracts. And actually, to just give you an idea, there was one billionaire that was in California. He made a lot of money, multi-billionaire actually, in California. Silicon Valley still is making loads of money, right? He purchased a massive, over $200 million life insurance policy under this, structured life insurance policy, which actually is probably in the Guinness World Book of Record as being the largest life insurance policy ever issued. But the thing is, with these type of life insurance policies, what happens is you could actually take out the money tax-free, and you have access to the cash at any time you want. It's not like a 401k. And they don't want you doing this stuff because they want you to put it in like garbage stocks. They set you up on all kinds of stuff. So in some ways, the statement that paper is not a safe haven is true, but then in other ways, it's not true, because the best people have access to the best financial advisors. Now, I'm not playing financial advisor because I'm just going to give you a broad overview, because I'm not even familiar with, I could probably find out, but I'm not going to do it on here for this. Because, that's why these people are getting $250 an hour and stuff. That's what they're charging. And you think that's a lot, you ought to see what attorneys get, and you ought to see what they get. They get double their fees. Like if they're getting $400 or $500 an hour, they'll get double on other cases when it's a particular type of case by law. And, you know, maybe the one that lost might have to pay those attorney's fees. They might be getting $900 and $1,000 an hour. Of course, somebody that has a PayPal button pay $2, $5. They know more, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. But I'm getting kind of fed up with this garbage, if you noticed. But anyway, you know, when you're in this type of account, it's like a structured life insurance. Actually, they'll call it like a 770 account, but it's actually off of tax code 7702. And you can look it up, but it's like it's not like a 401k, but what goes on is like you actually have protection from creditors. You can take it's got a lot of cash available, and it'll return about a good 5% every year, tax free, and it's been around for like over 100 years. The biggest banks, all the biggest banks, like Chase Manhattan, Wells Fargo, whatever the hell it is, and the biggest corporations, a lot of their money is actually, this is where they're flush with cash. It's in this type of stuff. It's in this type of stuff, as a technical word, STUFF, right? Just put it out there nice and plain. But anyway, it's been used. It's been used by the most wealthy people. John F. Kennedy used it. John D. Rockefeller used it. FDR, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, used it. It's been around a long time. It's been around in the 20s. It's been around. It's saved a lot of massive problems when corporations went down and things went under, and well, the thing is, you got protection from creditors. The elite aren't going down, man. The elite aren't going down, but you're probably going to make a good deal of money on the silver. But you see, this is where I'm I'm not sure, but I'm suspecting waves. I suspect this. I suspect that it's going to go up very fast. Well, it's not a big premonition here. Silver, when it goes up, it can go up really fast, faster than you think, and higher than you think. But it may go up a lot really soon, and then, like, I think in September, I think September 2015 is going to be the middle of the next financial crisis. That's what I'm suspecting. Because, and it's not that I believe in the religious predictions, it's not that I believe in the astrological predictions, it's the fact that they're throwing this garbage out, and I think the elite believe in this garbage. J.P. Morgan himself used to say that it was millionaires think the astrological predictions are BS, but it's billionaires that pay attention to it. Whether they believe it, I don't know. They're superstitious people. And, I put this thing out recently with the original 007 John D, if you want to look at that. It's been around. I mean, the English court believed in this type of stuff, astrology, the occult. Nancy Reagan even believed in it, besides Queen Elizabeth I. It's been around. It's been around. It's been around. And, I think they make things happen sometimes. They got the computers to do it. They got the ways they can move the markets. Where I think people are going to lose it on paper is like the ones that are all invested in stocks, because even though the major media is telling you, oh yeah, we always say, like they'll tell you all these reasons why the stocks are looking like a bad long-term investment for the next 10 years, and the corporate bonds and the government bonds and all this kind of stuff. They're telling you all this stuff, and it's like they're still saying, well, what am I personally doing with my money? Well, I'm keeping it in there because I know, I can ride it out. So in other words, they're kind of giving you advice to tell you to keep it in there. And I'm saying, they're setting the suckers up. Actually, the elite will keep their money, and they will retain, it'll grow their wealth. They'll grow their wealth in tax-free havens, despite FATCA and all this other kind of garbage. And they're not going to, it's just the way it is. It's always been this way. These things are available, and they have been available for, I don't know, 100 years or more. People don't know about them because they're listening to idiots that sell DVDs and people with PayPal buttons that are truthfulers. And most of the professionals out there are financially tasked with, according to what they get, to steer you in other directions. Now, I'm not selling nothing here, and I'm not going to tell you how to do this shit. And I don't do it. I'm just silver, gold, and all this other guys. Silver and palladium mostly. I'm playing the same game as the rest of the poor middle class. I'm playing the same game. But I do understand a lot of what the elite do. Now, there is elite out there that I saw, for real, that had hundreds of millions in freaking metals that weren't gold and silver. And I alluded to this stuff on other videos, but, you know, it's like, I don't want to allude to it because I figure it's just going to get me in hot water somehow. And, you know, for what? You know, for what? I mean, you know, if I tell you the lizard people are coming out from the earth or some crap, you know, with the Donald Marshall deal, I don't, see, that's one area I don't trust about that yo-yo. I trust the high tech that he probably talked about in the cloning garbage, but not the, not some of the other stuff, because I might put it, I don't think I'll put one out because I don't think it'll be advertiser friendly. You know, but I'd have a list of questions that I could, you know, I put out one, I addressed a couple crazy things with this Donald Marshall, with the, some of the wild stuff, and I get into some more of the wild stuff, but I try to keep it more realistic. But I don't think I'm going to put out a video on questions that I asked this guy because of, it just wouldn't be advertiser friendly. And, you know, I realize, you know, in a lot of ways I'm putting these things out, it has to be something pertinent to whatever, you know, is going on in the real world, you know. But anyway, just want to put this out that, you know, the elite are not going to lose their money on paper. No, they're not. The middle class is. Okay? That's what's going to happen. It's going to be probably even the upper middle class going to get slaughtered. Because when we had the 2008 financial crisis, which was actually, the middle of it was September 29, 2008, they got clobbered. Even people were like millions of dollars. But the real elite did not get clobbered. Okay? They did not get clobbered. And, you know, I'm going by the 7-year cycle on the Hebrew calendar. I don't think it's really that it's the religious aspect. I don't think it has anything to do with the 4 blood moons. But I think the events are going to be moved that way to push it, you know, have it happen this way. So, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? All right? So anyway, over and out. And I got a helicopter flying by, but don't fuck with me, asshole. Anyway, I don't know. I was wondering what the hell that noise was, but anyway, they have. Hey man, I'm revealing too many. I'm dropping too many dimes here. Anyway, no, it's bullshit. But anyway, I just want to tell you this though, that the elite are not going to lose their money on paper, not at all. The middle class probably will. And you, as a middle class investor, at this price for silver, gold, platinum, and palladium, you're going to do quite well. You're going to do quite well. It's pretty cheap right now, and you know, I don't think this deal is going to blow up right away with Iraq, but you know, it's always like ebb and flow, ebb and flow, ebb and flow. You know, with Ukraine, it's ebb and flow, ebb and flow. You know, tensions, then release the tensions, tensions, release the tensions. But you could see how it's moving. And I think oil will pretty much, before you realize it, will be about $50 a barrel higher than it is right now. And it will hit record highs. Even the major media is warning us about that. But usually when they warn us, it doesn't happen in a week or two. It takes a little bit. But it will happen. I'm pretty sure of that. But the elite aren't going to lose their money on paper. And if the elite will not fall, they're not going down, man. They're not going down. These jerks that are freaking telling you all this stuff, they're lying through their teeth. They're lying through your teeth. The elite aren't going down. Maybe the upper middle class is, but the elite aren't going down. And I don't know how to, you know, I mean, you're playing a game because you're hopefully elite will go down and you'll get to, you know, be the revolutionaries and we'll have everything they got. But it ain't going to happen, man. They're not that stupid. You know, they don't consult with people with PayPal buttons on truther sites and people that sell DVDs. They don't consult with that. They got some smart. You think they don't know what the hell's going on? They know what's going on. They know what's going on. And I said, even though the people that have physical hard assets, they'll have hundreds of millions. Hundreds of millions. It's no BS. Anyway, over and out. Just want to throw the truth out there for real, okay?